In January, I went to Spain with a notebook. And when I filled it up, I bought another. And then, when that was full, I got one more. So all in all, in the 2 or so months I was there, I filled 3 notebooks, not including the 4th, a book of strangers, kept on the advice of a new friend.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird coming away because I was like, maybe I'll go away and like this version of myself that's now so interested in connection will connect with people and it'll be amazing. Or maybe I'll go away and just like revert to my old self. And like as it turns out, I am connecting with people differently, but I had to kind of just be like, it's like I just have to go and see.
Of course,
you know,
we cannot know how it will work out. That's one of the things that I've said at the beginning. You just have to make a decision and like go for it and try.
Que me sirvan otro trago, cantinero, yo lo pago pa' calmar este sufrir.
An excerpt from Questions of Travel by Elizabeth Bishop, copied out in my journal on the train to Seville. Think of the long trip home. Should we have stayed at home and thought of here? Where should we be today? Is it right watching strangers in a play in the strangest of theatres? What childishness is it that while there's a breath of life in our bodies, we are determined to rush to see the sun the other way round? The tiniest green hummingbird in the world, to stare at some inexplicable old stonework, inexplicable and impenetrable.
Even though I'm quite unwell today, I think today is the day I've started feeling that just like excitement and this kind of electrical connection to what I'm seeing. And I think there's this sense, as strange as it's going to sound, where sometimes I'm reading something or watching something and it really touches me and I feel very connected to it, and I feel very connected to an author or a character or a vibe. And there's this thing I feel when reading it or when hearing that person's, being inside that person's brain, if it's a writer, because I think when you read someone's work, you begin to get a glimpse into what their internal brain interior design is, what thoughts sound like, what the quality of existence and awareness. I'm doing a lot of Joan Didion hands. I used to speak like an Italian and now I speak like Joan Didion. I think I recognize in pieces of work that I love, that I really cherish, what I recognize in them, and what maybe we all recognize in the people or the works that we really cling to, is a kind of a vision of our best selves, of what it feels like to exist and to be in our minds when we are our most connected, our most romantic, our most lyrical and poetic and alive, even tragic and sad and melancholy, but like in a really full of your whole heart. You're not holding back anything, you're not feigning any kind of ambivalence. The most profound experiences I've ever had of traveling and exploring and being really connected to a place and really connected to myself, and the reason I'm so like weirdly, romantic about Southern Europe and stuff is there's been these moments where on my own in a space of exploring, having these moments where I'm walking around and I'm in a cafe and I'm journaling or I'm reading or I'm staring at a mosaic on a wall or talking to a stranger. I think sometimes those are the moments when I can hear these voices who I've met in books and in films and in poetry. It's when I can hear them the clearest, and I wasn't really hearing them the past few days, so I didn't feel, I was kind of like, where am I, what's going on, what am I doing? And I started hearing them today. I'm really sorry, I shouldn't be laughing because I'm speaking non-literally, and I think that's a cool way to talk to people, is to try to put language to things that aren't. I'm trying to get to a place of vulnerability myself where I use language to kind of communicate things that are more than just kind of like what everyone says all the time. That's where interesting connection can happen, I think. I was in the train this morning very tired, and I started reading Elizabeth Bishop's poem Questions of Travel, and I started hearing that feeling, and suddenly I could sort of feel my freedom. And even though I was really, really tired, like I didn't feel well at all this morning, things are getting that vividness, and I'm remembering that communer with the poetic spirits. I have dreamt of Seville since I was sick in bed and first saw a photo of its orange trees on Pinterest. I can't believe I finally made it here. Seville rolled past the windows of the bus. I worried about time, if I was using it correctly, if I was wasting it by not writing enough. You don't have to go anywhere, I told myself. You have no return ticket. You are free. I thought of Ireland. The restrictions were gone, the clubs open, the city a minefield of social and medical decisions and questions, weighing up risks, causing offence by being too cautious and not cautious enough. It seemed to me stressful, a place of chaos, a place where the dust had not yet settled. I was glad I was here and not there. You are safe here, said a voice inside me. You are safe, you are safe. I did not know exactly what it was that I needed asylum from in this old city, but I suspected it was not, in reality, the virus.
In Seville, I came upon a man who sold necklaces with paintings on them, the pendants oval and saint-like. I love it when themes seem to circle amongst themselves in real life, as if it was written. In Seville, with the inspiration returning to me and the walls covered in iconography, I felt close to the magic I do believe in, my secular saints, coffee, music. I thought a lot about denial and truth and new normals and Frida Kahlo, saint of strong hearts in frail bodies, saint of lemonade. I bought her on a pendant. I bought a coffee in a square to sit and write, and the man in the coffee shop asked who she was. I told him it was Frida Kahlo, and he asked me, is she a religious figure? I said no, and then I said yes. I fumbled in my non-existent Spanish that she was an artist, but that too was a religion. He was so pleased with this explanation that I got an Americano and a churro for free.
A note on Seville. You have frightened me. You embraced me so quickly. You gave yourself to me so immediately. You took my breath away. I lost myself to you all at once. My heart feels heavy and peaceful at once. It is not ecstasy. Perhaps it is rapture. I have never heard such a perfect silence. 26th of January 2022. I feel battered and overwhelmed, and so exhausted that I worry sometimes I'm in the wrong place entirely. Yes, tell me. I feel homesick, perhaps. I miss my love. I miss who I was becoming. I had just found her, and now she is gone. All I have ever wanted, I had it, I was it, and now she is gone. Relax, she is not gone. You are tired. I know I am tired. You think I don't know? I will rest 4 or 5 days. I will... Shh. Stop thinking. You cannot control it. If you want peace, be peace. Look at the sky. Eat well. Stretch. Hum. Walk more slowly. Give things time. Okay, so someone who I met online like 3 hours ago has invited me to go to a nearby town with her and her boyfriend and her friend to see a flamenco show tonight. So I'm just gonna take a nap and gather my energy, and then I'm gonna get ready for a little Saturday night after settling in and, you know, writing and communing, etc. Yeah, I was really like trying to get myself, like amp myself up to be more outgoing, to be more social, and yeah, kind of perfect time. So yeah, hopefully we get along, they don't think I'm really weird. Or they do think I'm really weird, but in a good way.
Despite her desire for vulnerability, she had decided as a policy to simplify matters with one small lie. She did not want to have the same conversations as always. The story of her body, its corruption, her resilience. Let her be young for once, among the young. Partake in their beauty, their innocence, their freedom. What came to her mind curiously was that line from the musical Rent, in which 2 cold and defeated city dwellers dreamed they might open up a restaurant in Santa Fe, chatting not about Heidegger, but wine. What Virgo wanted was to speak not of illness, but of health, not of rain, but of sun, not of bedrooms, but of cities and landscapes. She wanted to speak of a world that was wide, of bodies and landscapes that were infinite, that could do whatever they pleased. In that moment, that felt far more true than any other.
voces que a lo lejos van marcando mi retorno.
As time wore on, as can so often happen to travelers south, harsh reality began to give way to fantasy. There was work to be done, worlds to be tasted. I gave in to spring like winter and let it whisk me away. And then, because nothing is quite so absurd as truth, it began to work. The simplest task was no longer difficult, and a day lived was not followed by a day spent repenting.
The first couple of days my health was bad, and I was a little bit wondering what I was doing here, because I was just like, I'm sick, I'm without my support system. But then slowly, as the sun has come out, as I've slowed down, just seen a shocking change in my body. I can't really, in truth, remember a time when I felt as well as I feel right now. And I don't want to only discuss this trip in terms of bodies or health or whatever, because that's just tedious. It's been really different and freeing. I don't know, it made me kind of emotional. Beautiful things, beautiful things.
What have I seen of Spain, one might ask? On Thursday I encountered another woman escaping grey skies. We searched for Spain in the work of that old man painter. I have seen the bottom of glasses, the tops of hills, blue skies, green leaves, yellow houses, and everything else red, red, red. And I thought, whatever one is looking for, surely it must be found in cities more red than grey. We found a place to sit in my favourite square, bathed in direct sunlight. We split a plate of talas bravas and each had a smoothie that was tropical yellow and sweet as ice cream. In my new book of strangers, I asked Ninka to contribute a page. She offered a quote from the poet Rumi and a sketch of an orange tree. When your spiritual roots run deep, there is no need to fear life's storms. Life is a balance of holding and letting go. 2nd of February 2022. Sitting in a park, parrots overhead. I am the luckiest woman in the world, the actual luckiest. One might spend a whole life chasing moments such as this one, sun, birdsong, life. The only tragedy is that once found, this moment cannot be kept, cannot be stored away. That is the doomed folly of the diarist, trying to catch moments with her pen like a child hoping to save a snowflake on her thumb. I am afraid to speak. Why? Are you shy? It's the opposite. I can talk so well it's not really communicating, it's just talking. I'm afraid I'll just say the right things and you won't really know me. I'm honored you want me to know you, but why? We barely have met each other. I don't know. Maybe it's the day, my mood, maybe it's the weather or something like that. You're a stranger who I may never see again, and I just feel like being seen today. That's all. You seem like you might be a nice person to be seen by. Another note, there are 3 things that bring us back to reality: tragedy, love, and weather. of February 2022. I stopped writing because I got so sick from all the alcohol I consumed, but I wanted to write about how we sat in the square near the church and talked about how Ole comes from Allah and the notion of creative genius. And then we found a dinner spot near the main shopping street. I don't know how it happened. How does it happen? One moment the winters feel like they'll last forever. You're desperate, you're dissociating. You put 1,000 hours into making your body move and regenerate and get so little in return. And then, all at once, life is different. There is sunshine. There are oranges on the trees and soulmates are everywhere. It is easy to have a conversation and you need be nobody but yourself, and though it's hard to find vegan food, you have never been so nourished. How does it happen? You know better than to ask these questions, but you'll photograph your blessings and write it all down. Yes, she is in her prime, and the book this time can be a romance, a comedy. The memoirist prospers.
I love the way you're living life. I just think you're doing it right. I think you've been sent to Earth. I think you've nailed the assignment.
I hope so.
You know, in France, Spain, when they say ole, because if you dancer, you know, when you're watching a flamenco dancer and you say ole, it comes from Allah. Really? And it started when you see a dancer or a musician doing something that is so transcendent, it's so beautiful that you think, okay, it's not God or God has like the Holy Spirit is like, no, but some people sometimes.
10th of February 2022. It has taken me almost exactly 24 years to become a human being, to cry on beaches, to feel joy so sharply that it aches. Which is not to discard the iterations I was before. They were real and perfect in their way, but they were not intact. They were atoms with a negative charge, looking for limbs, looking to bond with things, crashing through the air in desperate, tragic search of wholeness. Which is not to say that this is my final form. In a way, it may be my very first. 128. But which would you prefer, the agony of feeling too much or the agony of feeling not enough? Oh, I can never go back to not feeling too much. Please, God, I hope I'll always be on the side of too much.
Soy infeliz. Si porque tú no me quieres piensas que yo he de morir, que me sirvan otro trago cantinero, yo lo pago pa' calmar este sufrir.